Hey, what's up guys? So this video is going to answer the question, is skill-based matchmaking stroke crossplay broken in Fortnite? So in order to do that, I'm going to provide the most data I ever have, including gameplay, objective data, also an epic response. So I'll be answering everything. Can you D-rank? Do my stats matter? Etc. So let's begin. So simplistically, there's basically 3 skill tiers in Fortnite. So you have the lower tier for people who don't build, that's 75 AI, minimum PC players. Then you have the mid tier, which is 65 AI to 30 AI, you'll alternate between them. That's for people who build a little bit, get some elims. And then the next one is basically the main lobby, right? So basically, things that matter the most are building and what platform you play on. Things that don't matter are wins, win rate, KD, and account level, which might come as a shock to some people. However, I'll explain what I mean by that later. So, what I mean by building and platform is if you look at someone who's naturally in a 75 AI lobby, like this guy, you can see that he won the game with 6 elims. However, material used 10. And I can't get my head around that. Even just navigating the map, they must have taken the scenic route everywhere, right? And you look at his stats, if you just saw these stats, they'd be like, what the hell, 20% win rate, 3 KD, must be a good, great player. Answer is, no, not really. They just don't build, right? So that's how I'm confident that as long as you don't build, you're going to stay in the low tier lobbies for a long time. So currently, again, on my main account, you can see 15 AI, about 50 PC players, the poor 2 Switch players. The reason I say platform is because it's dictated by Epic. So you might think, oh, of course, PC players are going to be in the high tier lobby, they're better, right? Yes, there's an element of truth. However, the easiest way to dismiss that is up until Chapter 2 Season 8, there was 0 AI lobbies as the highest tier, about 80 PC players. The highest I ever saw was 95. And then Epic hotfixed it to have 10 AI, and they reduced the amount of PC players. So it's not the case that suddenly the PC players got bad. It's just Epic has decided that there's going to be less PC players. Oh, and there's going to be 10 AI, although currently there's 15 AI. And also, some people often say, "Oh, you're only looking at PC lobbies. What about console?" Right. Okay. So whilst there is no Raz tracker for console, you notice this is a solo match, and look who's there. Oh, look, Novak Girl, who's a Redditor, and she's on PS4. So I can get into everyone's game. However, I'm gonna have to do it on different accounts. So let's get into gameplay. Alright, same 5A lobby. We find a real player. You good? Oh my god. So, as I was saying, these people tend not to go. Wow. A lot of missing. I'm just gonna spectate. Oh, he's getting back in the car. Oh, no, still in the car. What up? Is he gonna build? So the people that are like, oh, Fortnite removed building, I'd be so good, my superior aim and strategy. I'm like, you sure about that? Top 3 situation. We have the Snowman. We have the Jennifer Walters. And we have, don't know idea what the skin is, but Ass on Fire Josh. Let's go. Here we go. Epic fight now. Max mats, 0 building. He's gonna pop the medkit? Probably not. Yo, there's Jennifer Walters right behind that rock, bro. Oh no! The Jennifer Walters wins it. So as you can see from that gameplay, there's a bunch of people who don't build. It's not the fact that they've quit the game. It's just Epic does such a good job at segregating them, especially in solos where it's pure skill-based matchmaking. And that's also one of the reasons why they're not gonna rush with a no build mode. Why do they need to? These people don't already build. And whilst I can't know an exact figure, it wouldn't surprise me if, say, half the player base is in 75 AR lobbies having a whale of a time. And that's also why you need to compare yourself to the entire player base. So if you build in any sort of capacity, guess what? You're already a top 50% player. So let's just say you're in 65, 30 AI lobbies. What do they look like? Well, let's see. So 30 AI lobbies. These people build, but they're also petrified. But look at this person. Just spam building, and not saying they're complaining, but a lot of people are like, oh, PC players, what am I doing? Anyone on console can do this. Like, turn around and shoot me. You actually got a better chance than just being petrified. So next guy, petrified, not even in zone. And I just pull out the AR. So anyone on console can do that. Console actually has better aim assist with something like an AR. So I'm not saying I'm the best player. However, you can see that the skill threshold is so low that, are you better than these players? Congrats, you're a top 10% player. Also, these players don't even have third party. Like, these guys are busy fighting, right? Focus on them. Yet, this player chooses to focus on me, and I get annoyed. Also, stop 50-50ing people, because you're going to meet someone who has competent aim. You can just tell what kind of player. Like, this guy's hiding in the bush and he's just spraying. Here's reloading. You good, buddy? You good, buddy? Oh, he goes with edit phase. Obviously. Anyway, as I was saying, another thing that I wanted to show that gives weight to the fact that there is some randomness stroke percentage chance of you being in a certain lobby is play enough games, load into games, check every single game, and you realize that there is genuinely a percentage chance of, are you going to be in a 15 tier lobby? Are you going to be in a 25 AI lobby? It's more like Schrodinger's based matchmaking, which is you don't know what tier you're in until you check afterwards. So 15 AI lobbies, the higher tier, are they full of creative warriors? The answer is no, not really. There's a huge exaggeration that, oh, 99% of the lobbies are quadruple editing me. No, they're not. I'm not saying they don't exist. However, you've seen before that the threshold to get to these tiers is very low. And it's not that you've got to have a 15 elim game to get into these tier lobbies. That if you're getting a few elims per game building, you're going to eventually move up, right? And there's no delineation between someone like me who knows how to build but spends zero time in creative, doesn't know how to piece control, and the people that spend 8 hours a day in creative warming up for pubs, right? The other thing is suddenly you got to start playing a battle royale, which is you got to think, oh, am I landing somewhere quiet? I've got to farm up, and you got to play a bit more defensively. Also, weapons and utilities make way more difference. So the Spider-Man methods have completely changed the meta. So before, there was a skill gap in that you had to think about getting in zone. You had to be like, oh, I gotta get in zone. I can't afford to take on this fight. Whereas right now, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where on the map the zone is going. You're always in it because you can just Spider-Man yourself in. And that, again, drags out fights that should have ended quicker. And it means that people just end up landing on you and you get third, fourth, fifth partied. And then at the end, the game ends in the exact same boring way it has it done for 900 plus days. And I'm not going to bother showing gameplay because as I said, it's basically free for all, and yeah, the good players exist. You just got to play a battle royale. Now I'm gonna do a montage of endgame and why that needs to change. Just whoever has the most amount of mounts at the end wins. At least it was mi gente that won. Wow, what a surprise ending. Couldn't have predicted that. So for people wondering why do zones drag out, why can't you just push? Firstly, you're facing people who can build and edit and have some game sense. Two, you can only play to game mechanics. I've overlaid shrinking zones to Arena Chapter 2. Firstly, person here doesn't have to move. Everyone else is going to sit on edge, and there's time for builds to fortify to full health, so you can just full third party someone. When the zone does move, it's over pre-existing builds, so it doesn't really help. It's only right at the end can you actually do something. That's why games drag out. Contrast it to when zones move earlier. Everyone has to move here. And again, you got to move. You've got to move. So you can't just sit in one place third partying. And yeah, that's why games drag out, and that's why earlier zones are more important than the later ones. So now I'm going to highlight that Epic have no clue what's going on in their game. So this is an email exchange with McKay McCandlish, who's the design director on Fortnite. Pause if you want to read it fully. But essentially, it's an email about moving zones. I'm saying that the game needs earlier moving zones because my games are ending stalemates 9% of the time, right? To which he replies that we address heal loss, light zone enhancements. Let's analyze that. If heal loss are undesirable, why did it take 17 months to address them? And secondly, there's zero, I repeat, zero changes in V17. How can you validate something that didn't change? So either you're lying about the change or you're unaware. Neither are good. To which he replies, moving zones generate negative sentiment, and then players play defensively in arena. No, they don't. Everyone just full W keys. And he's like, oh, stalemates are very rare. No, they're not. They might be rare in 75 AI lobbies, but I'm not in 75 AI lobbies. And also, what I want to show at the top, that image, in 16.2, they finally added some sort of moving zones, and they had the half and half zones. And then on May 3rd, they hotfixed it to zone shrink, right? Why did it take Epic 2 months to notice that? You're telling me that no one at Epic played a game that lasted that long? And also, right at the bottom, Sean McIntosh, that's Empty Tux, he subbed to me on YouTube. Thanks for the sub, but I'd rather have a conversation. Now, you might think, oh, why do you have such an ego? Why do Epic have to listen to you? Well, I'm not saying that Epic has to listen to me. What I'm saying is, it's different if Epic want to say to me that, do you know what, we love heal-offs. We want the game to only end in heal-offs. We're going to rename the game Fish Night, right? They're not saying that. So I'm like, have you looked at your own data and have you looked at something objectively? Because objectively, moving zones, earlier moving zones are better for the game. Yeah, Epic doesn't want to have that conversation. So if Epic can't fix something that's simple as this, that has a hotfix that is binary, what makes you think that they're going to handle skill-based matchmaking, which is a lot more nuanced? Exactly. All right, so now I want to discuss a question that one of my followers asked. So, firstly, who is SBMM for? It is for people like this. So this is from season 9, chapter 1. You can see some people, Happy Meal, 700 games, not one win. Ghostboy, 300 games, not one win. So Rice, lol, 346 games. You see the point. This guy, 2,000 games, not one single win in any game mode. Compared to the top, 800 wins, 3 KD. You get the point. And this is a post I made. I'm just going to skim through it. 46% of the lobby, on average, had 0.5 KD and lower. So it wouldn't surprise me if 50 to 60% of the player base is in 75 AI lobbies. That's why we don't see these lost souls around in main lobbies anymore. And yeah, basically that's who Epic is catering to, and it's easy to cater to. because if they don't build, that's easy to figure out, right? Epic's lack of response, simply they don't care. Once a company gets so big, they make money either way, so why should they care? And in their opinion, well, we're catering towards the bottom 50%, so what do we care about the top 5% or whatever, right? Of course it can be improved. Epic right now is just lazy. They're like, oh, we'll add more AI that'll make the game easier. And what is my perfect version? Obviously, there's not going to be anything as a perfect version, especially in team modes, because then you got to cater for different people. However, they can do a much better job than they're doing right now. Because right now, editing and creative is not taken into account, and that's the big skill gap. How much are you editing? And disregard the games where you die off spawn. Are you spending hours on end sitting in creative 2v2, realistics? That's going to be a lot more different than the person like me who's not playing any creative. And yeah. So now I'm going to discuss crossplay. I must state, crossplay is not inherently problematic apart from Switch players. They can have their own lobbies. That might sound controversial, but here's the point that I'm going to get at. There's a lot of bias. So firstly, people are only checking good players, and they'd rather blame crossplay than the fact that they made a bad play. And most of the time, it's a subjective measure that, oh, they built fast or they edit fast. There's no way a console player can do that. What they don't do, which is what I'm doing, is checking the entire lobby. Like, you'll see this PC player on PC just sitting in a tree. Let me show you a little quick video here. This is a PC player. And also I'm missing my shots to see, if they can hit me. So that's what I'm trying to say, that there's this notion that every PC player is on a high-end PC, every PC player is cracked. The answer is no, they're not. And there are a lot of good console players. If you remove the PC players from the lobby, guess what? You're going to have an even bigger skill disparity between the low tier and the higher tier. The real issue is that skill-based matchmaking is not taking into account other factors such as editing, etc., as opposed to there's no way that crossplay would ever work. So what would the game look like without skill-based matchmaking? So the closest you're going to get to no skill-based matchmaking is something like the All Valley Cup, which gives cosmetics just for participation, right? How did I do? I got 15 elims on a win. Why? Because the average player is just so bad at the game. And I'll show you gameplay from it. So you can see these guys are the ones that are going to complain about moving zones. And listen, it was not moving zones that was the problem. The problem was you were hiding in a bush and somehow expecting to miraculously win. So yeah, no skill based matching would be fine for people like me, but for the lower tier players, they'd go back to the days where they're struggling to get a win every 1,000 games. So I'm most focused on solos because that's the raw skill based matchmaking. Team modes, there's always some sort of compromise. So it used to be the case that whoever was the lowest in the party, and then if they were in 75 AI lobbies, you'd be in 75 AI lobbies when queued up with them. Currently, it's the highest, and I can tell when Epic have changed it because people start complaining. They've gone from easy lobbies to having to 2v1 people as good as them. LTMs also have skill-based matchmaking, which is basically 2-tier. And there's always going to be a discrepancy there because there's no simple solution. Because if you have the lowest in the party, people can just pub stomp. If you have it the highest in the party, they're not going to enjoy the game and they can't keep up. So it's difficult to strike a balance there. So the question, can you D-rank? The answer is no, not really. So if you don't play for a while, you're more likely to, but not guaranteed, to get into an easier lobby. However, you'll only get like 1-2 games and then you're back straight up to normal. And yeah, so it's not the case that, oh, SVM will balance it out over time. It's just if you build, if you get a few limbs, you're pretty much stuck. So other factors, region plays a huge part. So if you're in a low population area like OCE, NA West, you're gonna have a lot looser skill-based matchmaking. Time of day, it makes a difference. It's not a huge difference. Like if you're playing 7 a.m., the lobbies are slightly easier than 7 p.m., but it's not night and day. Limits of skill-based matchmaking. This is what people don't want to hear. You have to play the game, right? The game can only look at raw data. It doesn't know if you're spam building. It doesn't know if you're making a bad push, right? So there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, I'm a bad player. Why am I not playing with other bad players?" Like even with perfect skill-based matchmaking, right? You have to have a plan. You've got to, review what you did wrong. If you don't, then you're gonna fall behind. So to answer the initial question, is skill-based matchmaking broken? I'd say to a degree. So it works for the lower tier players. They don't build. However, it's too wide a band for the higher tier. Can it be fixed? Yeah, I mean, Epic is just lazy. They could easily account for editing in general. Creative time. There's people who spend hours a day doing, something like 2v2 realistics. That is not accounted for. And give people an incentive to play arena. Just a banner, a pickaxe, something. So the real creative warriors, which is where the skill gap is, give them a reason to play arena. So yeah, I think I've answered most of the questions. Let me know if there's anything I haven't covered. And yeah, I will be making a video when the new season comes out. I doubt anything's going to change. Maybe they'll adjust the amount of AI. But yeah.